Did you say that Bayer owns Monsanto?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That
Yeah.
that's totally not. That's totally coincidence,
No,
right?
and it's super chill. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Just two
Yeah.
mega titan powers, one in
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals and the other in food production, totally aren't related to one another. In the sense,
Yeah.
it does seem though that when you eat Monsanto's, what their the product of their labor, so to speak, you end up utilizing Bayer a lot more too.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like they have a really good business model, if they
Yeah.
can if they can allow things that cause you to get sick, but then they sell you the pill at the same time, then they've got a great business model. I heard something today that was like corporations don't have a conscience, and I think that is
Yeah.
so true. The bigger the entity becomes, the further they probably are removed from like the connection to people and maybe the impact that what they're doing might have. And it's a machine. They're thinking about profit, so that's a great business model for them, but it's not a great recipe for health for us. Yeah.
Well, I think the veil's been pulled back in modern society for the most part. I think whatever reason, like politics, maybe it was COVID-19, maybe it's just the fact that social media is so prevalent. People are starting to sort of lose trust in these like major big institutions. And I don't know if it's just access to information or what it is, but maybe 15, 20 years ago, we'd say, oh, come on, like, there's no way the government would steer us wrong. There's no way that they couldn't get a product passed through the FDA and it would be bad for us. And we're kind of seeing, well, actually, it happens like most of the time.
Yes.
And you really do have to take responsibility for your own health and not outsource that to, educational institutions or the government or
No.
politics or anything like that. It seems like that should be the way we think going
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope people can remember this time a little longer because I think as a people have a tendency to forget. I'm in the book of Numbers right now. Like the Israelites keep forgetting where they came from.
Right.
They like want to go back to their stuff. And I think that we have a tendency to do that too. So I had a lot of hope for people that were kind of having the veil pulled back during all the COVID stuff that was going on that kind of wasn't adding up. And they're like, is this actually good for my health? And a lot of people it kind of has helped them to see things more in I think a clear light, and I'm hoping that we can continue moving in that direction. But yeah, like I said, people have a tendency to forget. I was trying to remember the name, but there's been so many things over the course of history, like even if you think about cigarettes for example, where there was your doctor, this is their preferred brand, and there are all these ads and everything saying that they're safe and good for your health, and actually
Oh.
this type of tobacco is even better for you, and there's been nonsense like this since the dawn of time, especially when you get
Mhm.
corporations and media, when they have, profit coming from it too involved, it can really make things muddled and confusing. And I think we have to be able to step back and look at things from a kind of unbiased perspective and think about logically what makes most sense here.
There was there's a old timey labels going around of like medicines from the early 1910s. We had those traveling doctors on the wagons,
Yes.
and one of the labels had a cough syrup. Like if you had a cold, this is what you'd take, and it had the ingredient list was bourbon, cannabis, chloroform, and radium. So if you want to really get knocked out, I mean, I imagine you'd be
You
knocked
won't
out for days
cough.
on end. You won't cough, you might not live, but afterwards you feel like $1 million.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Speaking of mega corporations, can we talk about Kellogg's for a second? You've been on the bandwagon as well as many others, sort of help folks in the health and wellness, functional medicine space, talking about Kellogg's. There's a massive petition going around this idea of Kellogg's like sort of producing one product for the United States and producing other products for other countries. Can you talk a little bit, give the listener information on what exactly is going on and why you think it's against you and against your principles, so to speak?
Yeah, I think it's a corporation problem mostly, but we see this a lot. And it's not just Kellogg's, but I think people have to like kind of pick one area to kind of focus on at a time and then hope that it catches fire, right? Or that they can move on to the next and make change. And so there were a few people that started this petition. It was almost a year ago when the petition began. It was by Vani Hari, who's known as the Food Babe, and Jason Karp. He's the founder of, he's involved in a lot of this food industry. He founded Hugh Chocolate, and Callie Means, who has this wonderful best-selling book out right now with his sister, who used to be a surgeon. It's called Good Energy. Highly recommend if anyone and is interested in that. But they
I've been
started
pumping
this.
that book so
Oh,
much. I feel like I
so
should get
good.
commissions.
It's so good. Oh, life changing. Yeah, I'm like giving it to friends. But yeah, they started this petition probably almost a year ago to get Kellogg's to they serve one set of ingredients in the United States because they're allowed to, but in other places they serve different ingredients. And it doesn't mean that they're healthy in these other countries, but there are some ingredients that we know are potentially harmful in the American version that they're continuing to put in there, which and specifically in this petition is food coloring and BHT, which have
Mhm.
potential harmful effects. And they're saying, well, it's still legal, so we're going to do it. And I think one of their reasonings was because the kids in studies, they liked the more brightly colored ones better. But like, we're going to let kids pick what's best for them, then they should probably pick their own bedtime and run out into the middle of the street too, you know? So people are fed up with this double standard of like, you can already make this in a way without those ingredients other places and you do it, but you're not doing it for your own American citizens. So people are kind of fed up by that. And so the petition was made, and I think it was signed by almost 500,000 people. And there was a rally outside their headquarters a couple blocks away where lots of different health leaders came and spoke about, you know, why this needs to change. And they went over to deliver the petitions, and they accepted the petitions but wouldn't meet and talk with these people. And so it's kind of stirred up even more fire under everyone saying like, you know what, just cancel Kellogg's altogether. And one of the things that I shared about it is, you know, I don't buy Kellogg's anyway. What does this have to do with me? But even though I don't, it's not like I live in a bubble. I go out in the world and I go to people's homes and I see what's on their shelves, or, you know, what they're bringing to our camping trips and things like that. The most people in this country are buying those products, and that's why they continue to sell them. They're on, you know, you virtually all the shelves. You have to go to specialty stores to not see
All of
their
them.
products. And not only that, you know, I used to teach fourth grade, and these products were given to kids on free lunch, free breakfast every single day. They're being fed these dyes and these preservatives and other ingredients that we know are potentially harming their health, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it, or so we think. So I think it's just raising awareness is a big thing, so that people see that there is a potential problem with these kind of things, and that there's an alternative. There's something we can do about it, and put pressure on these companies to make their products a little less toxic, so that, you know, they can be. We're not expecting a breakfast cereal to be a nourishing health food, right? But if people are going to continue to buy it, it would be nice if they could put a little less poison in it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not feeding my kids like boxes of Kellogg's cereal or anything, but you know, I think the premise makes a lot of sense. And didn't California recently ban 4
Yeah.
ingredients, and that's caused a stir? Red
Yep.
3, and it's like brominated something, vegetable oil or something that
Yeah.
caused
Yeah.
cancer. Uh, Did you know anything about that? Am I
A
tracking, or is
little
that
bit,
something
yeah.
else?
It's some of the food
Okay,
dyes and the BVO. BVO used to be in Gatorade until people
that's
raised
right.
a ruckus about that. And then, you know, initially there was a lot of pushback, like, oh, it's not even, it's safe, you know, until then the studies come out to follow that say, actually, maybe it's not safe. And then we get the regulation. So I always try and remind people, you know, we don't have to wait for a law to tell us that something's not the best for us. We don't have to wait for a policymaker to tell us that that's not the best idea. We can do the right thing right now, you know, for ourselves and our own families. But it would be great if we're going to have regulations that they would be you know, well intended and well applied, I guess.